Hello, traders. Welcome to the rabbit hole, and let's dive right in for today's quick update. Yesterday, we were looking at a few different scenarios. On one hand, we anticipated a reclaim of the key level and a continuation upward, keeping the bullish structure intact. On the other hand, if Schrodinger's cat had turned bearish, we were prepared for a scenario where Bitcoin would make another high, bringing the swing lows higher, and then potentially breaking them for a short setup. Well, in the end, price did make a new high and, eventually, gave us the bearish structure break we were watching for, not exactly where I wanted it, but close enough to match our expectations. Last night, Bitcoin broke down, and it presented us with a trading opportunity. We saw rejection from the 1-hour breaker, which I liked because the stop loss at that point was well protected by the average gain move for the day. Additionally, we were also waiting for the Monday range to form, and now that it has, we can focus on where Bitcoin stands right now. Let's take a closer look at what we have in front of us. The overall structure is still in an uptrend on the higher time frames, but on the mid-time frames, it's more of a back and forth situation. Currently, the 12-hour chart has shown a bearish structure break, and this morning, the 4-hour chart followed suit. Right now, the 1-hour chart is in a clear downtrend. So the question now becomes, where could the local structure shift again, and which levels am I particularly interested in? The 1-hour structure could flip bullish by breaking this local high, but because the 4-hour time frame has already experienced a bearish structure break, it's possible that any short-term 1-hour bullish push could just be forming a lower high in the 4-hour downtrend before continuing downward. The invalidation for this scenario would be if the 4-hour structure breaks above Monday's high. However, based on today's data, that seems less likely, considering the average gain move for the day is around 1.86%, which would push Bitcoin slightly above $63,000. That doesn't mean it can't happen over the next few days, but it's something we'll revisit as more data comes in. Assuming Bitcoin continues to move downward, where should we look for potential setups? The levels I'm watching remain unchanged. The first level of interest is the local stops, combined with a lower timeframe order block that lines up with a weekly 50% retracement, as well as a naked point of control sitting around that area. If we see a structure change there, my preference would be for a reclaim of the Monday range, with that area holding as support. On the flip side, if Bitcoin doesn't give us a clean setup, I'll simply wait for the next level, a push down to where there are more stops, as well as today's average loss target. There are also a few other possible scenarios, including a potential sweep of the highs again. But I think that would be too many possibilities to cover in one day, so for now, I'll try to keep it local and grounded in the average move data and the most likely outcomes based on that. Data is crucial in my planning, and I often base my strategy around the average moves and probabilities. However, keep in mind that another sweep of the highs, SFP, is always possible when trading Bitcoin, so even if we get the expected move down, there's still the possibility that Bitcoin could take out the lows, triggering a lot of stop losses, or we might even see a sweep of the daily swing low. I've found a particularly interesting fractal pattern that supports this idea. It would essentially take out all the stops, either stopping at key levels or making a wick lower, which could also serve as a retest of the 2-day order block. After that, we might start seeing the move to the upside. Looking at the monthly statistics, we were already prepared for a correction to the downside, which, by the way, played out quite perfectly on the index chart with an 8.67% drop. On the Bybit chart, there's still a bit of room left, but the stats I use are based on the index chart, so I think it's fair to say that this correction has played out as expected, based on average moves. Of course, nothing is 100% certain, and Bitcoin could still make new lows, but if that happens, it would simply provide new data to incorporate into our statistics and future planning. I hope you've been finding my videos helpful and informative. Trading is a constant learning process, and while we all aim to be as precise as possible, it's important to stay flexible and adapt to new data as it comes in. Remember, the goal is to make calculated decisions based on the best available information, not to chase moves or get caught up in emotions. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video.